This is just a short video to help you understand your report, or as a parent to help you understand your student's report. Our reports nearly always come as an A3 folded over sheet, so this would be the front sheet. Here it tells you the timing of the report, it will have the student's name on it, their tutor group, and normally there's a message here from Mrs. Phelan, our head teacher. When you open the report, on the inside you should see a document that looks largely like this. I've taken this from an actual student. I've changed one or two things to anonymize it, but in general it would look like this. There's also on the back of the report some data that looks a little bit like this, some information that will help you understand the grade. So going back to the inside bit of the report, we always have our subjects listed on the left hand side. We have our teachers listed to the very right hand side, and then all the information between there is given by the teacher that's been listed here. There are three key parts to the report. The first one is the level at which the student is working, and this is to do with the national forecast grade and the projected GCSE outcome. The engagement, behaviour and homework section concerns the attitude of the student to learning. And then finally, the focus for improvement is a way that the student can improve and hopefully do better in the future. And that advice has been given by the teacher, again, that's listed down here. So first of all, I'd just like to look at the attitude descriptors. We have engagement, and that's how you get on with your work, how keen you are to participate in lessons, participate with activities that the teacher plans for you, and how you get on with other students. Behaviour is about your conduct. Do you behave well? Do you allow the lesson to go ahead? Are you able to behave in a way that allows your teacher to teach and the others in the room to learn? And homework is about homework. Do you do it? Do you hand it in on time? And do you take care doing it? You can be judged at 4 levels in each of those. Either outstanding, good, inconsistent or poor. And we're just going to go and have a quick look at those now. So, for engagement, you can be outstanding, good, inconsistent and poor. Any one of those 4 things. I suggest when you get your report, or you go back and look at a report you've got at home, you can read those and understand what that means. Similarly, for behaviour, we have 4 descriptors, and for homework, we have the 4 descriptors as well. So that tells you about your attitude to learning in the classroom. Going back to the main report again, we now want to know what level you're working at. We use something called national forecast grades. National forecast grades are worked out by how well you did at Key Stage 2. It also depends on how old you are in your year group, whether you're a male or a female, and whether or not you've been to lots of schools before or just one school before. And then a company called FFT, Fisher Family Trust, they're actually a charity, look at that information. They have that information for every single student in England, and they're able to look at that data and say how well students should be doing across the country. So for this student we're looking at now, we're suggesting a national forecast grade of a 5 in English, a 5 in maths, and then B's in biology, chemistry, physics, history, a C in French, B's in drama, and RE, and in D2 means a distinction in ICT. This student's not doing GCSE PE, but they are doing PE as part of the fitness and well-being, so they don't have a grade, but we just have some attitude descriptors here for them. Going back to this number 5, that may be quite new for a lot of people. Only this year have we started using the number grades for the new GCSE. So if you are in year 11, all of your grades will be on the old GCSE lettered system. If you're in year 10, most of them will be the lettered system, but English and maths will be the new number system. If you're in year 7, 8 or 9, all of your grades will be on the new number system. I'll come back to the number system in a minute. I just want to have a quick look at the grade system here. Sorry, the letter system here. So this person is predicted a B in biology. That's based on how well they were doing at Key Stage 2 and how much progress they should be able to make from there. Currently, their biology teacher, who is Dr. Shepherd, is projecting that by the time they come to take their GCSEs, the student should end up getting a C. Now that's not quite as good as we would expect. The national forecast grade is working out according to national students how well you should do. Now we've enhanced that a little bit and made it a little bit harder because we are able to choose at what level of national forecast grade do we want. Do we want our school to be like the average school in the 50% of schools, or do we want our school to be in the 20% of schools, or do we want our school to be in the very top 5% of schools? Well, we've looked carefully at that and decided that for most subjects, and certainly for years 7, 8 and 9, we should aim to be in the top 20% of schools at the minute. So this grade here, a B in chemistry, a B in biology, is based on the student here being in a school that will be in the top 20% of schools nationally. If that is to be the case, then this student should get a B. However, at the minute, Dr. Shepherd is only thinking they're going to get a C. So there's a bit of work needing to be done there to improve that grade up to a B. They should be able to do a little bit better. If we look at history, Mr. Jones here is saying that this student, by the time they come to their GCSEs at the end of year 11, they'll be getting a B. And if you want to be a school that's in the top 20% of schools, and this student wants to be part of our community where we are aiming to be in the top 20% of schools, they should be getting a B, because that's how well they were doing, or our forecasts are due from how well they did at Key Stage 2 at the end of their primary school. And everything here is outstanding. Fantastic report there from Mr. Jones. Okay, let's just flick back to these number grades. And this is going to concern all of you in year 7, 8 and 9, and for your English and Maths it's year 10s. Okay, so a 5, a 6 and a 5. Well, clearly the projected outcome here is a 6, but the national forecast grade is a 5. If I go back to the other bit of document I had here, it had a little hang to help me here, give me an idea what it is. So a 5 covers a C plus to a B. It's not a B plus, but a C plus to a B. A 6 is a B plus to an A minus. So going back to that data here we have for the student. In English, if they're going to be in a top 20% of schools and the student's going to perform like they should, if they're in a top 20% school like ours, they ought to be aiming for a GCSE number grade of 5. At the minute, Mrs. Duffy is saying, I think they're going to get a 6, so that is really outstanding. They are performing above the level that we would expect. Mrs. Duffy is saying that come the end of year 11, this student, she thinks, will be getting a 6. That's higher than we would expect to be in the top 20% of schools, so that's absolutely fantastic. In maths, Mr. Haynes, that's me, is thinking, well, they're forecast to get a 5. I think they are going to get that 5. They're working really well. Their behaviour is good. It's outstanding, sorry. Their homework is good. And it's really important they act on the feedback that I've written in their book. I write a lot in students' books, and I know Mrs. Duffy does a lot of formative assessment as well. And one of the best things that students can do is just read their books, find out what it is they have to do. Okay, I hope that's really cleared up what the report looks like. I'm just going to say it one more time what the national forecast grade is and the projected GCSE outcome grade, as this is where I have the most concern from parents and students. National forecast grade. This is how well each student should do if Cullumpton Community College is going to become one of the top 20% of schools in the country. It is different for different students depending on how well they did at Key Stage 2. The projected GCSE outcome is the level that we think the student will get at the end of year 11 if they continue to work in the way that they are working now. It is what will be on their GCSE certificate when they leave Cullumpton Community College. If you have any problems with that, please contact the school and I'll happily talk you through it again. Thank you very much.